Hello and welcome to this hobby vlog. So, those of you who saw the last episode 12, will know I was deliberating between finishing off the first 1,000 points of Thousand Suns that I've got. The first 1,000 points is this bit. That's another 500 points back there. And painting my knights all the way over there. Yeah, they're all ready to be painted. So those of you who know what a random magpie I am will be unsurprised to know I've decided to paint neither. I built these fiends a little while ago. I thought, I'll just spend an hour or two putting these together on Sunday afternoon, then crack on with painting whatever else it was on my table. No, these took like an hour and a half each to put together, I think. But I think they're really cool models. I mean, just look at those. I mean, yeah, they are superb. And I've got some more games of the day the Great Rift Open coming up, and I don't have very many Slanesh demons. I've only really got Demonettes and a Herald. I have got a Keeper of Secrets too, but it's an old Keeper of Secrets model, and it doesn't feel quite right using it every time I do. Which doesn't mean I won't and don't, but yeah. So I need some more Slanesh stuff. So I've been looking at a couple of painting guides on Warhammer TV. There's one for doing the legs with sort of purple and then a few highlights to make them look kind of like that. And then there's one for painting the skin. So I am going to follow those. So the first thing I have to do is paint all the skin in Warp Fiend Grey with 2 thin coats. Then all the legs, and I guess I can do the tails and the heads in that as well. Or maybe I need to mix the heads up a little bit. Not sure on that yet. And then there's going to be some Druchii Violet undercoating, then some layering. I hate layering. I am bad at it. These are not base coat ink dry brush models. So that's where I'm starting. My intention is to come back periodically after each stage, but God knows whether that will actually happen or not, or whether the next thing you'll see, I don't know, is me painting a Stegodon from Age of Sigmar or something. I don't have dinosaurs in Age of Sigmar, but that's how random I am at the moment. I could paint these. I do like these, even though I've never really played it from Underworlds. I do want to paint that. No, stop it. Right. Warp Fiend Grey. Okay, so they've had 2 thin coats of whatever this was. Warp Fiend Grey. And they look no different. I can't believe... You see, 2 thin coats looks exactly the same to me as 1 thick coat. I feel like my time has been wasted. But then again, maybe not. I find it incredibly difficult to stay within the lines. Part of my technique is to be really sloppy on the base colours and then be really neat on the... I mean, you can see all the straps on this thing. And it would take me hours to stay within the lines and not go over the straps. But, I'm just going to paint the straps afterwards over the grey. Right, so now it's Xerox purple onto the claws, the tail, the legs, and the head. Okie dokie. Okay, so about 2.5 hours later, I've got the coat of Xerox purple on. It's a little bit thin because it was watered down to try and get it so it wasn't going to be too gloopy. And I don't know how well you can see on the camera, but it is really sloppy in places. Like there are edges here that aren't covered, and looking at it through the camera, it looks quite neat. Raising my eyes up and looking at it over the top, it's pretty sloppy. But it all gets a coat of what's it called? Druchii Nightshade. So one of two things will happen. That'll either make it all go horrible and blotchy, or it'll just drag all those unsmooth edges together and blend it in super nice. Taking a lot longer than I thought. Well, no, it didn't take longer than I thought. I worked it out. I said, well, if these take me 2 hours each, that's going to take me 12 hours. I thought, oh, well, that's no good. That'll keep me going till 1 in the morning. I was like, it won't take me that long. Yeah, I knew it was going to take me that long. So, right, got to do that inking. And I know the instruction guide online says don't get the ink on the top of the legs. I'll just touch it. The quickest thing to do is just drown the whole model in the ink and then just do a little bit of touching up at the top to return the base colour. So that's what I'm going to do. Right, time for inking. Okay, so it basically looks like the entire model's been painted purple. It feels like the last 4 hours were could have been achieved just by dipping the whole thing into a big pot. But that's what it always looks like in these mid stages, I reckon. So now it's on to black ink on the darker parts of the purple, so sort of the lower half of the leg and the claws and down the back. And then it'll be another thin coat of Warp Fiend green, Warp Fiend grey even, onto the skin. That's where I'm not good at at layering, because I find it very difficult to leave the gaps in between, so that you can see the colour underneath showing through. It's one of the reasons I don't layer so much, because I'm rubbish at it. But we shall see. We shall see what this ends up coming out like. Okay, so unfortunately I did that thing whereby when I paint of an evening, I forget to pick the camera up and summarise it because I don't finish till long past I should have gone to bed. So they've moved on a little bit since you've last seen them, and by moved on a bit, I mean they've finished and been filmed in a battle report, which is why I've got a tray, because I just went downstairs to the garage. I thought, I'll hold them up in there, and then realised that the table, as it was still set up, would be an absolute spoiler for the thing I've just filmed. I say just filmed. It took me 24 hours to film it, with 2 meal breaks and 1 break for sleep. I had this great idea of doing a game with no turn limits and just playing until it reached a conclusion, without any points limits either. So it's one of the Soul of Nexus 2 series, and this particular bat rep, it's a members only bat rep before anyone gets terribly excited. But so it's in the members lounge. It's actually live already. Because with Christmas I got awfully behind with my filming. I used up everything I had, so I'm now sort of filming hand to mouth. And I was meant to film a second battle report yesterday. I was meant to do this one all on Friday night, but I totally underestimated the sheer scale of what I was attempting. But basically, the word bearers were assaulting the sisters' base, and the sisters had to hold out for as long as possible to get as many of their forces evacuated as they could. And it was just infinite waves of the forces of the word bearers, starting with demon shock troops, then going up to sort of cultists and spawn, then demon engines, then legionaries, then other things. And with the table still being set up, because at about 8:30, 9 o'clock last night, I turned the camera off and went, do you know what? I'm leaving this for now. It took about 4 hours to compile and all night to upload to YouTube. I was very lucky that it was, I actually got to post it on time. You can tell my brain is suffering, which is going to make work interesting this week. It's a busy week as well. Ho-hum. So, I started to talk about these downstairs, and Lemmy came in, and then the camera got pointed everywhere, and I thought, no, I can't do this without showing scenes that will spoil the bat rep. So I brought the whole tray up, which is why I've got a tray of things you've already seen. That was a very long-winded 3-minute 16 explanation of why the camera is pointed at what it's pointed at. So, I think last time I'd done 2 coats of the main skin. So what have I done since? Let me see if I can plonk it down and point. Or maybe I could point with the tip of the brush. Yeah. Okay, so what did I do? The skin ended up being too dark. I ended up, rather than doing a... I've got to put the paints underneath the thing. Rather than just doing highlights in Slanesh Grey on top of the Warp Fiend Grey, which was on top of the Druchii thingy on top of the Warp Fiend Grey, I found it was still looking too dark, so they got another coat of Slanesh Grey, or 2 thin coats of Slanesh Grey. These took me ages to paint. I reckon they took about 3.5 hours a model. So yeah, far longer than I ever normally spend. And I'll be honest, I got a bit sloppy towards the end and just went. I don't think it shows too badly on camera. If you look closely in person, you can see where I've made some, a whole bunch of imperfections. But so the muscles ended up with a couple of thin coats of Slanesh Grey. I'm not very good at it. You still can't see the definitions terribly well. I mean, I can see them better looking at the model, but on camera it all kind of merges into one. But the overall effect looks all right at arm's length. I'm pleased with the overall effect. I think they look spiffing. Also did some highlighting back with Xeris purple at the top of the legs. Duncan said what I was meant to do was only put the ink on the bottom half and then draw it up the leg. But that would have taken far too long, and I wouldn't have been able to ink the entire model in one go. So instead, I just overpainted the top bit with Xeris purple again, and I like the effect. I like it. Then what did I do? I painstakingly... Oh, wrong end of the brush. That reminds me, I need to buy more brushes. I'm using my last brush. They die very quickly. Order more brushes, Paul. So what did I do? I then went round with a thin black and painted in all of these straps and the leg plates and the claws. That took quite a while. Then it was down to silver highlighting. Oh, I did a little bit of red inking round the... because they show this on the box art. They've sort of got like saws where they're pierced to hold up their tights. So I did a bit of red inking on those, and I ended up doing a bit around the nipples on the chest to make them stand out, because they weren't standing out at all. They just went into the whole model. They just sort of merged in. So they've got a little bit of red ink. Then it was silver highlighting time. So put a couple of blobs. You can't really see it on the camera. Put a couple of blobs on the strapping to make those highlight. Just a bit of edge highlighting on the piercing rings, and on the little bits of metal, like on the tails, bit on the horns, and on the edges of the black leg plates, just to make them look a little bit more metallic. Then it was meant to be a whole load of careful edge highlighting with Slanesh Grey and other bits and bobs, but everything I tried I didn't like. I changed the tone too much, and I am rubbish at edge highlighting. So I just got some of the base colour, the Warp Fiend. Was it Warp Fiend Grey? Yeah, I think it was the Warp Fiend Grey. And just did a dry brush over the legs and the tail and the head and the claws. And that's worked quite well. That sort of brought the bits out. The tips of the claws have got a very thin black on them. then these gems have a temple guard with a bit of blue ink over them. And that's it, job done. I'm pretty pleased with them, but the dilemma it gives me now... look how different they are to all my other Slanesh demons. And I kind of prefer the... Well, I do and I don't. I do like this aesthetic. But they look a little bit washed out, and the detail on the faces aren't good because there's so many layers, there's so much dry brushing. I mean, these aren't good. Looking at them in person, they're far worse than they are on the camera. They just look like blocks of white, don't they? You can't really see the detail. Plus, my Emperor's Children have got this demon scheme as their demon flesh on things like Possessed and so on. But this looks, it's better, it's neater. So, when I paint more Emperor's Children, this poor guy's been sat there for ages. He even fell off his base. Look, there's fur and dust and everything, and tissue. He's been there a long time. But I need to paint him for an upcoming campaign. I say upcoming, it's probably a few months off. The same one that I was painting the Eldar terrain for. Oh, yes. So I have the dilemma as to whether I go with the scheme that isn't quite as good, but will make sense, and just have the fiends being different, because one unit of demons can be different. That's all right. Or whether I switch other units up to this same colour scheme and the army doesn't look right. I also have the dilemma as to how much I actually do with my Emperor's Children before a new codex comes out. It's not something that's been announced by GW, but I'm certain it's on the cards. And I don't know if it's 2 months or 2 years down the line. That's the difficulty. And I don't know. Oh, are you telling me there's a package arriving? You are. I wonder what's arriving. Dare I ask? Alexa, play notification.
One new notification. From Amazon Shopping. 2 months ago, you bought Post-it sticky notes on Amazon. Now you can help other Amazon customers by sharing your opinion. How many stars would you rate it, from 1 to 5?
4.
Thanks. Your rating will help other customers make better choices.
Okay, she's not asked me that before. I thought she was going to tell me that something was arriving today. When she started saying you bought this 2 months ago, I started to panic. I'm filming this. What is it? What could it possibly be? Something like, I don't know. You bought a turkey baster 2 months ago. Yes, I did. For basting a turkey. I don't know why I panicked. There's nothing in my Amazon ordering thing that could possibly cause me any embarrassment. But you know that fear of the unknown? Well, I know that fear of the unknown. Where was I? Yes. But the thing that I am least certain... I've just realised I've had my finger over the microphone. I hope you could hear that, what I've just been saying. The thing that I'm most hesitant about doing a couple of new Emperor's Children units, because I need some fast attack and I need some more heavy support. And I'm cool with doing them. I quite want to do a couple of Obliterators and a Defiler and some Raptors and or some Bikes. I think that would round off what I've got quite nicely. I possibly need some more Noise Marines. But that aside, I think that rounds off what I've got quite nicely. But what... Oh, and obviously this dude. Got to pick this dude. And maybe I need the odd character. I know every time I think about it, the list just keeps growing and growing and growing. But it's 3 or 4 units. It's not a huge amount. The thing I'm hesitant about, though, is whether or not those will be viable units in the new codex when the new codex hits. Because that would be super annoying. I mean, the models wouldn't go to waste. I'd just strip them and repaint them. But it'd be annoying, you know? It'd be annoying. Anywho, right. That's me talking about Demonettes done. What am I going to do now? Oh, look at this. Look at what I've got over here. This is shiny. Oh. I think I mentioned previously I've been binge watching Star Wars Clone Wars. Look what I've got! Star Wars Legion. With droid decars and clones and droids. Roger. This is going to be a lot of fun in like 8 years when I eventually get around to painting it. Because, yeah. If I ever get to do that full time, it would be really it would be really nice to have a game of that and get that on the internet. There's lots of stuff out there for that already, but I see. Well, you already know I'm a magpie. I see things, I buy them. I don't know why I bought it. It's because I like it and it's cool, and I now could assemble and paint it on a whim. There's a lot of other stuff to do. So this is what my task for today is. I think I'm going to make a start on these Kniggets. And I think to test the paint scheme, I will do the War Dogs first. Yeah, that's the plan. Well, I got halfway through building my next 10 Fallen Marines. Then something happened that meant I had to move on to other things. So many bits in progress. So many things in progress. But, yeah, want to do these. These were my Christmas project. So, come hell or high water, I'm going to do them. So that's what I'm going to crack on with now. So, I've just got my ladders out because I need to have a look in the loft because I think the roof's leaking. And I forgot how much of a maniac she is. You know why she's called Lemmy? Because she'd climb up to the top of high things and not know how to get down and just hurl herself off. Like playing Lemmings, trying to protect, except instead of trying to protect 100 of the blue little so-and-sos, it's just the one. What are you going to do now, eh? You're now going to try and jump on my shoulder, aren't you? Come on, you got up there. You can get down. I'm meant to have started work. Come on. Let me get down. No, she can't work it out. I'll get back to you and let you know how this ends. So, Lemmy eventually managed to negotiate her way back down the ladder. I say eventually, she just hurled herself off the top, living up to her namesake. And then every time that ladder, I have to keep it locked away. Not that you'd particularly keep a ladder out in the open. I found where the water's coming in. I don't know if you can see it from here. There's a stain on the ceiling there. You can just about make it out. There's a tiny little drip, just dripping through the fiberglass. That is a very old ladder. I wasn't sure it was going to take my weight. But, you know, it did. Hello, you. Right, where are we? What are we doing? It is, I was going to say Wednesday. It's not Wednesday, it's Friday. Friday lunchtime. And I'm just about to go and have my lunch and give her hers. We used to have this little thing where she'd I give her a tiny bit of ham out of my sandwich. It's now escalated to me making lunch for her every day. I don't know how she managed to hoodwink me into that. But she did! So, before we go down, last bit of hobby vlogging of the day. So here we have 2 war dogs. War dogs of Infernal House Commentis. So these have got all the base colours on them. It's basically, I sprayed them silver. I didn't have any of the panels on. They got sprayed gold. Oh, you'll have seen those in a previous vid with the gold, but I'd like you see them here. Bits gold, bits silver. Now, I've just inked them in Agrax, and I am in 2 minds as to whether to paint over them again. I kind of like the dirty, grubby look. Oh, sorry, Lemmy's doing she's trying to claim ownership of the phone by scent marking it. If I go over them again, if I give them another coat, they'll look cleaner and crisper. But I don't know if I particularly want clean and crisp. This is an Infernal household, and I'm sort of thinking what I'll do is I'll do lots of lots of damage, lots of chips, a bit of what's the word? I want to say degeneration, but that's not the right word. Not rust, like wear and tear type stuff. Cack. I want to cack him up a little bit. I'm also in two minds as to whether to make any transfers, because there's a tiny little bit there where a transfer could go. But most of these other ones, right? I don't know how I'm going to get a transfer on there with the demon things clacking open, unless I do the transfer and then cut it down the middle for where these cracks form. Might do that, don't know. That's a little way off. Corrosion! That's the word I was looking for, corrosion. Do some bits of corrosion and stuff on them. I found ages ago a little tutorial for doing the sort of heat damage on melter weapons. And it's like 2 coats of Guilliman glaze on the tip, then 2 coats of nightshade on the first half, then 2 coats of purple on the middle half, and then 2 coats of yellow on the back end. And I'm quite pleased with the result. I think they look sort of thermally used, as it were, and they're quite good, like those. When am I going to get to pick you? You're next. I'm in two minds. I think what I might do is I might paint them all to this level and then decide as a group the extent to which I want to cack them up, or whether I want to go over the red again and make them clean and crisp. Because they look really nice clean and crisp on the pictures in the book, but I don't know. I don't know. I might also do the 3 nights in a batch, because it's fairly... I can just take my brain out and just block in the red on some of these. There's only a few colours in the palette. I mean, if you ignore most of these, which were for the guns, there's only really a few colours, and most of these were for the head that's stuck on that spike. Yeah, I quite like. I think it's quite. I don't need them to be super detailed. I think at arm's length, I think they look pretty good. Arm's length, quite pleased with those. Look forward to seeing those on the tabletop. These are going to feature in the next game I film for the Soul of Nexus 2. I say these, I mean the household, House Commentis. I'm just coming off the high of spending 24.5 hours filming the last episode of the Soul of Nexus 2 last weekend. Which went up in the members' lounge last week. It's one of these I've been mulling for ages, and I'd not quite worked out exactly how I was going to do it or if it was going to work. I wanted to get across the word bearer's way of warfare, which is really hard to do in like a 1500 point game, because the word bearers will use demons as shock troops, then hordes of cultists and spawn and mutants again as shock troops. Then they'll follow up with things like demon engines, and then and only then will the legionaries put themselves in harm's way. So I wanted to do so I did a scenario where I had a fixed number of Sisters of Battle on like an Imperial defense line, and then infinite waves of word bearers escalating in difficulty each time to see how many turns the Sisters could last. I thought I was going to film it on a Friday night. I started at 7:30 on Friday night, and then finished at 8:30 on Saturday night. I did have a sleep, and I did have 2 meal breaks in the middle, but man, it took a long time. It was awesome, though. It was absolutely awesome. Yeah. So these are going to be in the next game. But when that'll be depends on when I can paint these. I think, is that it? Not quite. I had a very good conversation and a great chat with Winters last week, and we talked about all sorts of things that we want to do, collaborations, stuff for Deployment Zone, stuff for my channel together once COVID is much less of a thing and we can get together and film stuff. So we've got loads of great plans for the future. So I'm really psyched and really pumped for that, to use a couple of to use some vernacular that isn't my own. psyched, pumped. Now, I don't say those things. I don't know why I just did. Yeah. Oh, yeah. You can see here. I'm totally tangenting. I've got the heavy stubbers on all of them because, as an army, it's about 1,600 points for 3 knights and 2 war dogs, and I need some anti-infantry. So all the spare guns, all the extras, are heavy stubbers, and there's a stratagem you can take to upgrade all your heavy stubbers on an infernal household to strength 5 because they're like demon shells, which is really cool. So these guys are all going to have the stubbers, which I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to how I can sort of play to the sort of predatory. These guys are all natural predators. They have to hunt a demon and kill it as a rite of passage to get into a suit. So I'm really looking forward to how I can illustrate that on the battlefield. That's going to be really cool. Yes, conversation with Winters, and amongst other things, we had a good chat about things we were going to do, and he's given me loads of advice for managing my own channel and so on. And one of the things he's told me to do is set up a Patreon for anyone who wants to support me. I'm not asking anyone to, but if anyone does want to support me, there is now a Patreon, which I will link below. But a far better way to support me, if you're that way inclined, is to look at channel memberships, which will also have a link in the description. Because you get super stuff for those. There's an option for live streaming, where I think it's coming up next week. So if you're watching this on the day it comes out, the live stream's going to be on the Monday for the January live stream. I think that's right. Where the members, they all send me in sort of topics they want me to discuss or questions they want me to answer, and then I sit and talk at the screen and take Q&As and stuff. That's lots of fun. I enjoy doing that a lot. And then there's another level. There's level 2, which is my extra battle reports, which is a battle report each Sunday, every Sunday, just for the members. So if you're interested in supporting me, those two are those are options. Link below. Right, that's it for this week. Stay safe, everyone, and I will see you in the next one. Bye for now.